Hello, I'm Avenel, and I would like to talk a little bit about my syndrome. My syndrome is called chronic misdiagnosis syndrome. No, it's not an actual, real syndrome that's recognized medically, but they always make up crazy syndromes to say that maybe you have this, and then so I don't feel real bad about making up a syndrome. So, chronic misdiagnosis syndrome is characterized by having a medical problem that takes more than 5 minutes to explain. So, it's on the rise. Anyway, why do I have my gloves on? Because I hate talking about medical stuff. I hate it with a burning passion. But this makes me feel a little better. And because I just want to have a full-blown medical hating party. Let's make it a real party here. Here we go. Yeah, I brought a disco ball, so what? Anyway, so basically what is going on, I don't think doctors are evil. I don't think that kind of thing. What I think is the system doesn't work, and doctors keep trying to kind of work around the fact that they can't do things, but instead what they're doing is making it so that I cannot do the things I need to do to be okay. For example, there's lots of things that I have learned to do. I mean, even this kind of stuff. I know it's goofy, I know it's weird, but it does I need to be able to be a little crazy to be able to laugh at my life sometimes, because sometimes it's really hard to be okay. Anyway, but there's kind of this idea that if they don't have a medication for it, then there's nothing that can be done, instead of helping people understand what's actually going on, or maybe, just maybe, saying, I don't know. But instead of somebody saying, I don't know, some of the things I've been told are, well, you're just allergic to the world. Oh, well, thanks. So what do we do about that then? And how do you mean allergic? What are we talking about? So anyways, basically what happens is I feel like when I go to doctors, they do a lot of talking in a way that is something that I'm very aware of, where you're managing other people's emotions, but it doesn't work on me anymore because I recognize it. And I don't want my emotions managed. I want data. I get to feel about things however I friggin' feel about it. You don't get to have any say over how I feel. You can tell me the truth. You can tell me some information, and then I can deal with that. But instead of actually giving me information, they start telling me all these things about, I don't know, they just kind of talk about stories, and well, some people with this and some people with that, and then instead of actually saying, here is what is going on. And they don't ask questions. And it's very difficult, because one of the things, I'll go into the mental health stuff in a separate one, because, this one will be crazy enough as it is. But the thing that's very difficult is because I have, and I mean, this is not like I went in suddenly after all these years of being fine. I have been in the medical system in multiple ways in my life, basically nonstop since junior high, including mental health, and because of some back problems, all these things. I've been really trying. I'm not just all of a sudden, why won't it work now? Anyway, but I forgot my point. Shoot, give me a second. I was talking about what they talk about. I'm gonna press pause for just a minute if it'll register with my gloves on. I think I remember what I was saying. Anyway, so when you have mental health stuff going on, because for me, part of my problem has been being able to communicate clearly. And the worst part with my problem is that for a very long time, I thought I was. And I thought people were understanding me, and people feel like they understand. That is the worst part of it. People feel like they understand me all the time. And then I have to be super, 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 super proactive and ask people to restate what I said. And it's almost always wrong. I almost always miscommunicated things. And there's something about the way that my brain works that seems to be a little counterintuitive for a lot of people. And so people misunderstand, and I think I misunderstand what other people are saying. I do a lot of clarifying, though. I really, really do. Because I know I have this problem, and because when people say one thing, I can always see like all these meanings, and I'm like, which one is it? Anyway, so the problem is that when that issue kept getting kind of pushed aside because reasons, mental health video, shut up, Avon, I'll get back on the topic. There's nobody there to explain to a doctor that I need a little extra, like restating, a couple extra questions to ask. And the doctors are so, and I know that this is because of the system. I know this is not just them, but it's like one problem at a time, please. And I'm like, my whole body's breaking down. Sorry. I don't have just to pick one. I think they might be connected. And they're like, well, it's all within. I'm like, 30 things don't start happening all at once unless there's like, that would be like freakish statistics that would happen. Anyway, getting off topic and I'm getting ranty. So back to the party. So that has been the biggest problem, is not being able to, that's the other thing that's so frustrating about it, is that as I have been in this last 2 years that I'm on a break, y'all. I cannot go into it. I had to go to the medical facility to pick up a prescription, and it's like post-traumatic stress for me, and I'm not even kidding. It is hell for me. So I'm on a break. I'm taking a break because I cannot go in there and deal with those people again right now. And there's not a way to easily get somebody to help with the process. And the other issue with it is like, after I started, so about, like I said, for about 2 years, I've been in this process like really nonstop, because the stuff that's been happening has been like super life disrupting for me. Like I can't just like pick myself back up. And I have been saying every appointment, I am having increased difficulty communicating. I'm having a lot of problems remembering things. And nobody understands that means like they need to do a little extra. They need to clarify. And people will seem to think that just because, so I come in I have all these things going on, but they want me to like pick a symptom, and then they want me to tell them this information that I am not a medical professional. I don't know the terminology. I don't know if I'm misusing terms. It's just like, I don't understand it. And there's nobody there as the middle person saying, hey, what do you mean by this? And then one of the most frustrating things I started to notice, because all this time that I've been going to the doctor for years and years and years and years, I kept kind of just trusting them and trusting the system. And, well, I guess it's that, I guess it's that. And then when I went and started reading the notes on my doctor's appointments, nothing lines up with what I thought we said. And not only that, but like, they will tell me things like I said, like, you're allergic to the world, or this is just autoimmune, and nothing's in my record, because nothing's actually been like officially explained. They just throw a couple words out there so that you feel like you're being given information. And then when I'm trying to connect dots for myself, because I get it, they don't have time. Fine, I'll connect the dots, but you got to give me the friggin' dots, Sorry, I get very worked up. But there's nobody there to be that middleman. And I mean, I know there's people who can go, you can go to holistic medicine, but I can't. I honestly, early on, maybe I could have done that, but I can't make all of those huge, like the part of my brain that, like, I mean, I eat the same things every day. I do the same things every day. You throw off my schedule, I kind of fall apart a little bit. So trying to like reorganize my life and do all of these other things, and I can't do that right now. And a lot of times, those things are so expensive. And it's not like it's one trip there. It's like you go back all the time and get and I can't afford that crap. And I mean, and I think the other thing about that to me that's frustrating is kind of like, if that's an option for people of a certain financial bracket, I don't know, it just seems, then this other system just keeps being super broken for the people of the other financial bracket. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, I feel like, I don't know. That's all like weird ethical stuff that I don't really know how I feel about it. I just notice it and I'm like, I don't know, it just feels like something wrong there. But, and I have done the things, okay, before I started all this stuff, I had really made like huge like lifestyle changes, like cut out sugar, was doing bulletproof coffee, was doing like all of this, like reset your microbiome, probiotics, just all kinds of different things I was doing. Um, and then I was still getting sick, and that was where I was like, I can't do this if it doesn't make me feel better. I need to figure out what's going on. And then that's when I went in and, it's like nobody could figure out what's going on. And then things went to like, got worse. And in this process too, I will mention, what this is the kind of stuff that keeps happening that I'm like, dude, this place is a mess. At one point I went in because I was having some kind of acute stuff that was going on, because a big part of my problem is here. And anyway, and I was just concerned because it was so cramped and it was into my left arm that time. And I was like, I hope it's not my heart for some reason. I don't know. So I went in, and apparently at that point in time, I was given a blood test and I was anemic. And nobody told me. And I think one person said at one point when I was there, like, it looks like, are you familiar with, something? And I remember him saying, just kind of looking at me and going, anemia. And I was like, well, I know I don't get enough iron. And he was like, okay, as long as you know. Right. And I was like, okay, thinking that's like the same thing as like when I go in to give blood and they say you can't, you know? But then later on, after a year, a little over a year, when I went back for all these other things, then they found out that I was, she pointed out, oh, hey, for the last, year or so, you've been anemic. Maybe we should have told you. But that kind of thing. And another one is a physical therapist that was great. But I will be in there and he's, this whole mystery problem that nobody's able to figure out. He's doing all this manipulation and feeling stuff and goes, huh, that's weird. Huh, that's weird. And he's like, did you fall anytime recently? And I'm like, yes, actually I did fall about 3 months ago at the time, I think. And then he didn't give me any more information on it. He just kind of, And then a little while later, I go back to check the record to see and there's no mention of it at all. So there was something that he was suspicious about. The thing that happens at the base of my skull where it swells up. He was feeling around on there and he was like, yeah, that is really weird. Well, it's a good thing you're getting a scan done soon, which, just so you know, things don't always show up on scans. But again, no notes. And so I can't give anybody any information. And people don't remember those moments. Like he sees, I don't know how many people a day, and so I started being really like completely overwhelming and frustrating, because I feel like what happens is they beat you to death with the system until you just go away. And I know that I'm not the only person that feels that way. And I know not all doctor offices are the same. My doctor facility is like, everything is all in one company, one place, and it's all very interconnected. Like there's no, like every single specialist, everything, they're all part of the same entity, and so maybe that's worse. I don't know. But it has been so completely disillusioning, because I'm thinking for the longest time, like, hey, if these problems that I'm dealing with and managing and coping with, my coping strategies, right? they really end up getting out of hand, I can go in back and I'll get help, right? And then when I go in, I find out that what I get is actually making it worse because the stress that happened, and I won't even go into my neurology visit at this one because I might actually explode. But it's just like, it's made it worse for me because not only that, but there are other things that when stuff is going on with your body physically, right? Some of the things they're a little uncomfortable to talk about. They're private, or they're embarrassing, or like, like I have to pee all the time, whatever, it's like, it's just stuff that it's a little bit uncomfortable to talk about sometimes. And I'm sure sometimes it's like really uncomfortable depending upon what problems you're having, right? And so if you have a doctor that's trying to like rush you through and kind of push you out, you're not going to tell them that information because it's going to be dismissed, and then you're going to be embarrassed on top of it. And so it's kind of like they don't want the information. They just don't want it because they don't know what to do with it. And so I don't know the answer yet. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of been my experience. And that's kind of why I'm a little bit crazy. Well, one of the reasons. Some of it is just I'm a little crazy. But I don't know. This is my like get the crazy out first, because I'm hoping that I can talk about the things in a more organized manner, give more specific examples and things, because I do think, well, for one, like I said, I hate talking about this stuff. And so if I can have it on here and people who need that information can have access to it, especially if things get worse, because there have been a lot of things that have happened over this time that it's hard to keep track of, like when and what and how, and just like even, one of the things my neurologist didn't ask me, like, hey, after you fell, we know you had one fall. Have you had any other impacts to the head? Well, yes, I have. I've had many. Or when I'm talking to my other doctor, like at one point where I was dealing with one of the original like flare-ups, like, is anyone else in your house sick? Yeah, actually my dog is sick. Like there were things that I'm like, I feel like somebody should have asked, do you have any like exotic pests? Yes, I do. I have a bearded dragon. There are things that like nobody asked, and I'm starting to go, that's kind of a big deal. Like that nobody, like you still can't figure out what's going on, and you're not asking questions. And I know there's data that might be relevant, but you don't want it. And when I bring you more data, you get mad. And that's the other thing that has happened is I have actually had a couple where I was really having a day that it was really bad. Like I get tinnitus, and I get where it really, really, really loud, and I can't think well. And I was in a lot of pain. My neck was so cramped up, and I was trying to talk to her about something, and she started to just get really frustrated and push me back, and kind of in a way that shut me down. And I've never been able to go back to her again without it. Like I did a couple of things, but I'm not actually hoping for help. I'm just like, it was for paper trail at that point, because I'm like, I don't know because that's the thing. The other thing is when I look at the notes afterwards, they put things in there that make you sound one way or the other. And so then the next doctor or the specialist reads what they wrote, and you can tell when they start talking to you, they've already decided. And that's when I realized every time I go there, I'm making it harder the next time, because people will read that, which is not correct information. And so this is my get the crap out, and maybe I can think and document better going forward. But maybe I'll just do like videos for a while with these, because it does make it more like bearable for me. I don't know. Makes it a little bit more wrinkly though, but that's all right. So this is a crazy long one, but whatevs. I know there's got to be other people out there dealing with this crap. I know I'm not the only one, because this system is so completely broken as I'm in there, like I'm like, how does anybody get help here? Unless it's like you broke your leg or like you have something like clearly diabetes, or you have something that your blood test shows it immediately, but anything remotely outside the box, I can't, the stuff that's been dismissed and kind of halfway labeled and meh, meh. And I've been told about many things. When I'm asking about something, they'll say, well, we don't really diagnose that because we don't have a treatment for it. And so there's not really anything to do for it, so we don't really see a point in diagnosing it. And I'm actually quoting. This was at one point because I have hypermobility that I was asking about Ehlers-Danlos, which is a specific type of hypermobility, but also has some other like really like serious things like that would affect the way you get scans and MRIs and all that. Anyway, but like, because there's no treatment for it, they don't diagnose it, but I don't want a pill. I want to change my lifestyle. I want to understand what I'm dealing with so that I can figure out what to do. So I don't know. These videos might be a total hot mess because I'm not going to edit them. I'm not going to do it. I just have to like dump the bucket and move on. So that's my bucket of medical hatred party. Again, I don't hate the people because I know the people are just they're stuck in the system like we all are in these other things that are broken. And I'll talk about those eventually too. We'll have some other crazy parties about, maybe it's a party of one, whatever. I'll bring my gloves anyway. Good with that.